Hello, welcome, this is Jens and Vars. In this video we're going to talk about PUM, SUM and GUM. Is that how you pronounce them? Let's figure that out and let's see what are these solo role-playing game systems about. Let's get started. Before we get into the details of each one of those games, I wanted to explain to you guys how do I see these games, because that matters a lot. It might help you understand also where they come from. And to put it simply, I am no writer. Ideas do not flow to my head. I cannot read two random words and come up with something out of the blue or look. I just want to be playing these role-playing games on my own when I don't want to schedule games with my friends and arrange those group games, which are amazing. And I have been game master many times and been playing role-playing games for like 15 years or something like that. But I don't come from a narrative or literature or novel writing or fictional writing background. So with that said, that's gonna set up some of the ground foundations behind the three systems I created. Like when to use which, what is the difference between them, should I play all together, separately? And I changed a lot behind them. So that's a little bit the context, and with that said, let's get started to take a look at each one of them and what are they for. The first game and the original and the first one I created is Plot Unfolding Machine. When it started as a scene designer. So essentially I was playing Mythic GM emulator and I was like stuck with the question like what happens next, right? Like I could have the context and everything, but when I opened that dungeon door and I had no idea what's on the other side, I was thinking myself, why do I have to come up with all of that, right? And there's nothing wrong with Mythic. It's actually fantastic if you have a good expectation or playing a pre-made adventure, or again, maybe you're a fictional writer and you don't have any issue coming up with what kind of game you want to have. But me, I wanted to have a little bit more of surprise while remaining to the principle of being a game master. So Plot Unfolding Machine will not game master the game for you. It's not a replacement to a GM. It's just going to prompt you just a little bit enough so you can play that game that you want without giving you strict answers. So it's a bit more concrete than other more abstract emulators, but at the same time still generic that you can use it for the kind of game you're looking for. There's the free version. It's the old version. It's a very simple approach or how it started, and it's by all means good and fun if you like it simple. The current design is more overarching, so it helps you with starting and finishing plots. It has a certain plot structure elements. The basic sheet has exposition, confrontation and resolution, which is a principle for you to say, okay, I am here still starting, or I am somewhere in between my story, and the resolution telling you, hey, you should finish something. It doesn't have to be the game, the entire plot, the entire adventure, but some sort of conclusion, and that it matters a lot. I'm gonna take a look at that in a while. The essence of it is, of course, provide you some basic emulators so you can start your games and play them through just with Plot Unfolding Machine. So in essence, it's very self-contained and you shouldn't need any other system. So if you want to just play one game, just print these two sheets and go ahead and play. It gives you enough. It has a yes or no oracle prompt. So if you're asking an NPC, you might get different gray areas between yes and no, and I wanted to include that in the oracle. Next, you have different oracles for different circumstances. The typical questions that one usually has is who is someone, some sort of location, an intention, an ability, an object, or an activity. The plot and the game rules are simple once you get them. Essentially, you will place a coin or mark a cross in these boxes, and whenever you want to, or you feel like your game is ready to make a next step, you roll what's called a scene beat. And there are two types of scene beats. One on the left, the modified proposal, is made for when you know more or less what's going on in your game. You don't expect high levels of surprise. You know where your characters are going, or who to talk with, or where are they, and you are more or less familiar with the situation. You have the game under control. So you draw a modified proposal which adds a twist to your idea. So that's good when you're like don't want to squeeze much randomness into your game, and then it counts for the plot progress. So you advance one box in here, and as you use a scene beat. The other option is the original option, the scene prompt or the random prompt. It is more when like you're not sure what's next. Like, yes, your characters go to the forest to figure out that mystery, and you're like, yes, okay, I know what's the forest about, but what happens when I arrive? I have no idea. What is, like, if I look back to the GM and I tell him, hey, yes, we go to the forest, and then you look back at the GM, right? You expect this person figure to tell you what's next, or at least propose a situation. This situation is a beat. It doesn't have to be a scene as structured, but it has to be a situation, something that's like, okay, what happens? Of course, not something must not happen, but this gives you an idea. The typicals are a challenge you might face, a catalyst, a complication, and so on. But also it can be a plot node, and that's the new thing in Plot Unfolding Machine version 6 and onwards. You include elements of the game you want to have in here. So this is good also if you're playing pre-written adventures, because you can bring elements from that adventure into here. In order to advance the plot track, yes, you need to play scene beats. Like, you can play any other scenes that you say, I don't want the intervention of PUM, like my characters go and visit a tavern or take, I don't know, some drink. It's fine, obviously it's your game, you can do whatever you want, but it's a condition. If you want to advance the plot track, you have to roll on this. Doesn't mean that you cannot play any other way, or open scenes or open situations that you come up with, because it's natural. It's just they don't advance. Next, I'm going to talk about the game unfolding machine. When I started Game Unfolding Machine, I was too ambitious and I tried to put everything I wanted in one single game. And it wasn't great. It had a lot of great ideas, and that's currently the free version. So for free, you can get that PDF of GUM V1. It's full of content. It has oracles, it has intervention tests, it has NPC interaction, it has a lot. Even it has a hex flower, things I experienced. Look at it as my own sandbox of ideas, my brewery of ideas for GM emulation. Of course, you will like it. But today I said, okay, no, Game Unfolding Machine should be about the game. And this is a bit meta. It's a bit about preparing your game, about generating content for the story, about generating plot seeds. It's all about content. It's about potential plot discoveries that you can find. Object generation, you can generate factions with it. It has 100 sized tables of purposes and intentions from motivations perspective, so things that the players or the characters in the world might not know. It's a bit meta, so it's good either for when you're preparing the game. I think that's how I use it personally. Like, to set up the game, I pull a lot from here for the world building stage and the session 0. Or when you're GMing also, you can, like, if you're getting stuck as a GM, why not pull ideas from here? Doesn't mean you can use it. It's actually meant for solo as well. So whenever you're stuck and the other oracles don't answer your question, Game Unfolding Machine V2 is this. It's a set of random tables, very, very evocative, made of long sentences. So it's not a single word thing with synonyms and version alternations. You can create characters from different perspectives. Like, for example, I don't know, give me an object by its function or by its state. Or give me a faction based on what surplus resources it has. Or give me an enemy based on what they're going to do next. So it has like perspective generators. It's abstract. You can use it for different genres and games. So in the past, yes, Game Unfolding Machine was this whole monster. But today, Game Unfolding Machine version 2 is about content generation. And that's it. There's no oracles, no plot structure, not plot progress. So sorry for that confusion. But that's the vision I have for it. It's anyhow a huge PDF, and I appreciate, of course, your support there. It has oracles for almost everything you might need. But I ripped off all of those GM emulation aspects of it, and I called it a GM assistant instead. Last but not least is the Scene Unfolding Machine. Why I kept this separate? Scene Unfolding Machine is like Une to CRGE, if you know that kind of emulator. So it's a module for a specific purpose, and I separated it because maybe you don't play PUM, and I don't want to force you to play PUM in order to take advantage of NPC emulation or scene emulation. So what is that exactly? Scene unfolding machine is, by the word, unfold scenes, is what happens or what could happen in a given circumstance. So it's not overarching like plot unfolding machine. It's not meta like game unfolding machine. It's more like, okay, your characters are doing something. What happens around them or who they interact with. So it has multiple modules. The free version of Scene Unfolding Machine has a lot of its core, and the new version, which is paid, I hope you like it and support me, has more features, but the essence in Scene Unfolding Machine has always been the same. Not unlike Game Unfolding Machine, which I might have messed up, I'm sorry for that. Let's take a look at the Scene Unfolding Machine. You've got intervention checks. Many of us are looking forward to surprises. Games like Mythic, GM Emulator have surprises in the yes or no questions. I personally feel better when it's not in my questions. When I want questions, I want the answers. So I separated the interruption check, and that is now voluntary. So whenever you feel like your characters are working on something and something could interrupt them because you have that gut feeling, then you just roll an intervention check and there's a surprise behind it. So voluntary, call to surprise, and there's a 40% chance that nothing will happen. So it's just a chance for something to happen. There is also reaction to your character's actions. So you can say, okay, my characters make this decision and it can have certain risks. You don't know which risk exactly. The reaction is like, okay, this could happen, or like how the world reacts to their action. Living factions, what the other factions in your world do, it's like this is GM emulation, so it takes a bigger view. But for what the Scene Unfolding Machine is famous for is the NPC emulation. You can get attitude, contributions, filler talks, like chit-chat topics, an outside impression, an opinion, what do characters or NPCs say. So if you're having a social interaction with NPCs, the Scene Unfolding Machine will going to give you plenty of content, whether they are lying or not. There's also generators of NPCs based on archetypes. So to make an NPC with just one role, like one role NPC, get the stereotype of the NPC and get going, and you're gonna, with just one role, generate a quick NPC. And finally, something that also was very highly praised is the Oracle. There is an Oracle in Scene Unfolding Machine to clarify any other open points you might have from the other present tables. So it's a 3 times the 100 table full of adjectives and subjects with my style of Oracle, which is give me synonyms, give me variations of a word, read everything and make something out of it. With that said, I hope you could follow through. If I have to tell this story in a nutshell, my vision today is to use Plot Unfolding Machine for the overarching plot that you are playing. You can use it outside a plot if you like. To generate scenes, you can use whatever you like out of it. I could make a video entirely on Plot Unfolding Machine. There's a lot into it for the player perspective play style. So it's great if you are like looking forward to a GM emulator that tells you what's going on around your characters. Scene Unfolding Machine is to deal with NPCs, with surprise elements, and the Game Unfolding Machine is a generator of content. You need a faction, you need an object, you need an item, you need an enemy, you need a clue, a discovery, that kind of content generation for your game, whether you're preparing or playing it. So with that said, guys, I really appreciate the community for being so supportive. I would love if you also like not only supported me, but give these games a try and share your feedback with me. And thank you for those who also both publicly or privately share your actual plays. I like reading them, and these tools make me happy and enabled good stories for the storytelling I can give. So looking forward to those games, guys, and keep playing. Looking forward to your feedback and any opinions that you would like to share. How did they work for you? With that said, until next video, this is Jensen Vars. Bye bye.